It looks like we're live, John.
Live
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Q&A with John Worthington. I'm Paul Grenci, and tonight we're going to be talking about the Dyad class, or the Dyad seminar, which is actually starting up in 1 week, and we just finished the first session. How are you doing this evening, John?
I'm wonderful, as usual. I couldn't be any better. Well, I could be, but nobody could stand me.
As usual. Well, that's awesome. So Let's just jump right in. Dyad class.
Okay.
I think people have some idea of what a dyad is, but maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah, that makes sense. They might not be able to even find that. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Okay, so a dyad is any relationship, a one-on-one relationship. Two people, a dyad. That's what it is. Whether it's a business partner, an employer, and a boss, a kid and his mom and dad, or dad, a couple, they're all dyads. The one that gets most attention, of course, is a couple. Whether it's a guy and a guy, a girl and a girl, a guy and a girl, however it is, that's the one that gets the most attention. Although business partners, they get a lot of attention too, I think.
That's a close second, for sure.
it is. It's a tough one.
Okay.
So that's what the class addresses, is how a relationship actually goes together.
Well, what do you mean? Like, who sleeps on what side of the bed? Who cooks and who takes out the garbage?
One of the things we have to consider carefully is that we have to consider that we probably don't know what the component parts of a relationship actually are. I mean, that's probably true. Is that we just don't know. Okay. We probably have a good idea, but we don't know what the parts are, and we don't know how to measure them and so forth. And so we go through a couple of different parts of this so that people can figure it out. First, we go through a way of measuring what our own personal thoughts are, because in a dyad, each person's going to know what they're thinking. Okay. I think that's probably one of the most important things that we could find out. In other words, let's say that let's say you and I are business partners, and so you say something all the time that bothers me, and I'm not even aware of it. Okay, I just have this trigger reaction to it. Maybe it's because you say something like, well, I hope we can get this done. And in my mind, hoping that you're going to get it done is an admission of failure, for instance.
Not good enough.
That's not going to cut it, Bubba. That we're gonna have visits about this one. Probably some speaks involved with it even. And so that's what's going to happen. See, we're going to find this way. So the thing is that if we know why we do those things, then we won't make that mistake. Okay, at least we can kind of strap around it, or we can dilute it some. Let's say
that's what you mean by measure oneself in the relationship.
Yeah. In other words, okay, where is that hair trigger thing reaction I've got? Where does that come from? What's that about? Okay, you're right. I'm having a reaction here, and you didn't do it. I'm just having it. I get pissed off, and I don't really know why. Okay, so let me stop here and figure out why. Okay, and that happens. That happens in any dyad. It happens.
Happened to me.
It happens. I'll bet it's happened more than once.
Oh yeah, for a while.
Okay, and so what we have to do is we need a way of being able to stop and say, okay, where did that originate? How come I have that as a reaction, and on top of that an impulsive reaction? How did I come by that? I didn't sit down ever and say, I'm going to have this impulsive reaction, and I'm going to piss everybody around me off just because I get pissed off at the wrong time about nothing that exists. I don't think people sit down and do that to themselves. Maybe, but I don't think so. I've never seen anybody do it, but it could be. But let's just, for purposes of this conversation, let's just say it don't happen. Okay, what does happen is that we get a program from maybe mom or dad, because we're that kid in the family, and so every time anybody says something to us, we say, no, I am different than this other part of the family. I'm the other part of the family. I'm not that part of the family. No, I'm a contrarian. And so, as a kid, it's cute. Everybody says, "Oh yeah, he's a contrarian. Look at that, a cute little contrarian." And I'll tell you what, he's a cute little contrarian. He is. And then he gets older and gets married, and he's still a contrarian. I don't know why. He's always been a contrarian. Everybody let him go get along with that. Nobody ever stopped and said, "Okay, why are you contrarian, honey? You need to stop and do that different. Being that contrarian thing ain't working for you so good. It's cute, but how about we do it different?" Nobody knew to say that. And so he gets into a business relationship, and he's a contrarian. Everybody says, "You can shut the fuck up, asshole. I don't want to talk with you." And he said, "What? Why? What'd I do?" Nothing. That's the problem. You're not doing nothing with that contrarian stuff. You're keeping the rest of us from doing something here, really. Now, if you can sit down and talk to that guy and say, "Where did that come from, dude? Did you have a trauma in your childhood? Did you think that you were cute somewhere? What happened to you?" And if he can figure out where that began, then he can change it. And guess what? Rather than having a contrarian, you have a productive member of your unit. To me, that's useful. To me, that's a very practical idea. The same thing can happen in a relationship. A girl can get in a place where she says, "I don't like for men to treat me as though I'm not a woman." Well, I don't blame her. She shouldn't like that. Why should? Who the hell would like that thing? That situation? No, nobody. But if she can figure out why she feels that way about it, not that she's wrong about it, but she can figure out why, maybe she can use that in a different way other than being a Karen or being bitchy about it, as for instance. Okay, and so that's not to say that every time that a woman thinks something contrarian that's who they are or what they are, but sometimes it is. Okay, and so I'm going to use that as a general statement, not because I believe that's always true. It's like, okay, there's an example. Because I know that there are ladies who get bitchy about it or get Karen-y about it or whatever you want to call it. And it's like they're not being bad. They're not being mean. They're not saying that they don't like anybody. What they're doing is they're saying, this is what it looks like to me, and I don't understand it any better than this. So if they can stop and say, "Okay, I'm not mad at you about it. You thought it was thought of what you should have done. That was fair. So why did you decide to start doing that? Where did you begin that?" Sometimes if we find those things out, it really helps us out a lot. And so what we talk about a few things that keep us from doing that. Like we try to take blame out of a relationship. Look, if you're in a relationship, you can't blame the other guy for doing it. Both of you did it. I don't care if he did it all by himself. Okay, it's like in what the hell's that? Fried green tomatoes. The lady ran into the Volkswagen 9 times. Okay, well, her husband said, you 9 times you had to run into it. Well, the fact of the matter is that he had to agree with her about that. Okay, he had to find a way to say, "Okay, I see. You did it. We're married." He come in and find her beating the walls down. "Okay, yep, we're married. Okay, yep, I'm good." That kind of patience comes about with time, perhaps, but it also comes about because somebody decides to get along. They just decide not to fight. They just say, "I'm not going to fight. What the hell? Why do I want to fight with this person? I'm in love with that person. I enjoy that person. They do some strange and wonderful things. I swear to God, they do some strange and wonderful things. That's part of the show. And I'm good. Let's go down this road."
So wait. So are you're proposing that the most effective result of a dyad would be an agreement?
Oh, absolutely. That's the only reason a dyad exists, as far as I can tell.
Now, what comes out of agreement?
Well, reality.
You mean the kind of reality that's just out there that we can all see?
Well, I kind of think it's kind of like the reality that's surrounding your 4 walls right here, right now. I think you and Ellen kind of made an agreement and bought a house this last summer. Mm-hmm. And there you are sitting in it. That's reality. Right.
Yeah.
You and Ellen agreed to, this is the house, this is what we want, this is the size we want, this is the neighborhood we want, this is the schools we want, this is the way to work we want, this is the view we want, and well, not this kitchen, but we're close. Get rid of the damn drapes, would you please?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, and so that's a reality that you made out of an agreement, and there are very measurable steps to reaching that agreement that you could go right there. There's steps, and if you make all those steps and you kind of make sure that all those steps are covered, the agreement's pretty much an automatic.
So wait, so are you saying that these steps, this is something that this Dyad class is going to address?
Yeah, we do try to address that. We try to get you to see first of all how your own programming works. And then we try to get you to see how a dyad program, a more than one person program works. And then we try to say, okay, look, you have a single person program, you have a more than one person program, whether it's in business or in a dyad per se. And then we try to give you the functions that make up an agreement. Now, the thing is we hit the tops of all of those waves. We don't really get down into it very deep. It's kind of like going to the smorgasbord. You can get to try a little bit of everything they've got. You can get a little Chinese, you can get a little Thai there. You can get some beef and beef and potatoes. You can get some funky salads. You get stuff on your salad you don't normally put on it. You get stuff that you only try once in a long while in the dessert bar. All those kinds of things. So that's the reason why you go to the smorgasbord, because you can try a little bit of everything. You got to gain weight, you go there a lot, but you can still try everything you want. So anyway, that's kind of what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to give people a basic understanding of why and how a relationship works. Now, like for instance, you offer a class called Program Theory, and it's it really, people really should take that so they understand why programming works, because it's an effective theory. It's not something that it's not a made up thing. It's something that unless you can come up with a better idea, that's the one we're going to use, honey. This is an effective theory. It works. We can follow this through and get some real things on it. We don't have a way of talking about it normally, but that's part of what this class is about. Is introduce terms and definitions and so forth, so we can use these ideas as measurements.
Well, I think you just use these ideas, right? So these classes, both the Dyad and the program theory class that you were talking about, these are application experiences, right? They're interactive. They're not like watching a movie or reading a book and walking away with some data.
No. You're going to participate. That's just how it is. You're going to participate, because the thing is that what we're going to talk about is going to make you think about how you think about. Okay, so you're either going to say, oh yeah, that's a good idea, or you say, hey, where'd you stop there? Explain me this one, would you please? Because I didn't understand that. My mama never told me about that one. Are you sure that's the truth? It was good enough for Grandpa and Pappy, so why are you telling me it's different than that? It will sound like social media. It will sound like the mainstream media, as Trump says, right? Oh, there's confusion over a COVID booster shot. No, there's not. You either get one or you don't. Did they say you could get one? Then you're not going to get one yet. There's no confusion about that. It's real clear. If you can buy one, I'm sure you can get one if you want one. Money talks, and you know what walks. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So all you guys bitching about it, you know what's walking, right?
Yeah.
So it's that kind of a thing, right? What the hell, I'm not trying to convince anybody to behave themselves here. I'm saying, okay, look, here's an option. You don't have this option, so maybe you'd like to take advantage of it, use it.
It's just a tool, right? That's all it is.
Yep, that's right. Come on down here to the hardware store, basement of Sears, and let's take a look at what tools look like, shall we?
Okay. Yes, we shall. Now,
okay.
what is one of the major results here, right? If you're putting together agreements, why should someone want to pursue this class?
Well, look, relationships seem to be in one of about three different states most of the time.
Okay.
They're in love, and they're doing things, and they're making things happen, and even if they're not all lovey-dovey in love, they have a healthy respect for each other, they trust each other, etc. That's a relationship. Okay. And in that relationship, this class, what it does is it affirms really what they're doing. It just says, hey, look, here's something that I know that you guys are doing, but now you know why you're doing it, and here's some tools they'll let you, if you want to use like an MBO, it'll help let you get through some other things fairly simply. If you look at your own programming, it'll be useful for you. Okay, there's another kind of relationship where they're not really making it yet. Okay, they're still a little bit behind the eight ball. They everybody's working two jobs, and the kids are there's just all kinds of problems. This class generally helps those kind of people get past problems. It doesn't solve it for them. It gives them some tools, though, so that they can get past those problems. There's the other kind of relationship that's going to get divorced. They never should have been married, and this class is going to give them reasons to do so. Okay, I'm not trying to cure anybody. I'm not trying to make everybody happy. I'm not trying none of those kinds of things. It's like, okay, take a step back and look at what's actually real. If it's real that you guys are fighting about all the time and you can't find any resolution, then call it that, would you? Right. Quit suffering like that. Sir, quit beating up your wife because of that. Honey, don't. Sweetness. Listen to me here, please. Don't beat up your old man. I understand he's an asshole sometimes, and I understand that you're pissed about it. I don't blame you for being pissed about it. Get the hell out of that thing. You're going to be able to do it okay. You're going to live through this fine.
Right.
I know it looks scary to you right now, but look, believe me, you're going to be happier because you're not going to be spending all of your energy defending yourself from falling over. You're going to actually be able to gain more energy than what you have. And I think that's important for people. Myself, I don't know about you, but I think that's important.
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the things that people really, really, really want to get done. And so, if they're going to divorce, then okay, here's the thing. And not only that, because they're looking at what's actually real, when they get into another relationship, they have some tools that will help them navigate a new relationship. Yeah. And they're going to navigate one. Just as sure as God made little green apples, they're going to get right back together. Pitbull said why.
Well, so this could be a chance to break one of those. I mean, you hear all the time about these cycles, right? Where people will have the same relationships again and again and again.
Yeah.
This could break that cycle.
It does break it, actually, because you can step back and it doesn't break it. Right. Having enough information to be able to step back, okay, what is going on here? I mean, really, that makes it easier. That's the part that everybody's, okay, thank you, I appreciate that right there. Even if they get divorced, they might hate each other forever, but they'll still enjoy the class.
Well, plus they also have an opportunity to move on to something better, right? Something new, something.
Oh
else.
God, there's some of these relationships, Paul. I hope that they can move on to something better. I hope they don't repeat this. Man, this is an awful thing that they have to do.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so how does this actual class work? It's 8 weeks, right? What break it up a little bit. What are we doing over those weeks? What do we do in between the call, the videos, and what's going on?
Okay, all right. Each week we do a session, okay, and in that session we cover some points, okay. It's like in the first session, what we're going to cover is some what we call them. I call them the rules of engagement, okay. Like what is it you're going to have to do in order to stay out of the fight? If you guys can wrap your minds around these 3 or 4 things, you're probably not going to fight at all. You might even be able to discuss things if you can actually follow through and do these things. Well, it can happen. It's been known to happen. I've seen it in Guinness. Okay, it happens. Sometimes it goes on for a long time. But we also try to introduce the concept of what. Well, let's put it this way. There are different levels of thought. Not all thought is the same. Okay, I was talking to Vincent earlier today, and Vincente, and I was talking to him about the idea that there's beta thought, and there's alpha thought, and there's theta thought, and there's delta thought, and there's outside of the body thought. Okay, there's thought that happens outside of us, like laws and traffic and banking and so forth. Those are thoughts that are bigger than we are. We don't hold all that in our own mind. We hold that as a collective agreement or as a collective reality. Like roads, as an example, or infrastructure, that kind of thing. And the internet, and what we're doing right now is held by a collective reality. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now there are certain thoughts that are mind alone. Okay. Now the thing is that that even though they're mind alone, that doesn't mean that they're real just because they're mine.
No.
Okay. Because the thing is that we need to check our thoughts not only in the internal reality, but also in the external reality. And there are those two realities, okay? What we think inside of our heads and what we think outside of our heads are sometimes very different. And the idea is kind of to get them to kind of coincide in a way, right? In other words, if you're going to blame somebody for doing something, you got to stop and think, well, is that blame really work someplace? Where does that exist in the external reality? Okay, where does this blame thing really work? Do birds blame each other? How about fish? How about elephants? How about dolphins? How about dogs even? How about cats? Well, cats are iffy. Cats can be that way. Yeah,
well, blame seems to make sure that you don't have to change anything. That's what blame does.
Well, blame is to defend me and that I don't have to. It's your fault that I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not doing it. You're making me do this.
You made me. Yeah.
I don't understand how that can possibly work because I've tried to make people do things, like my kids. I'm trying to make them like wash the dishes, for instance, okay, or clean up their room.
Yeah.
And some I've been successful about that 2 or 3 times in my entire life. Okay, that they actually did that, but they did it under protest, and they didn't do it because they damn well pleased. They did it because I damn well pleased, and I was going to stand there with a belt in my hand saying, "You want to live?" And they said, "Yeah, we'll live." It was iffy. They didn't really care that much. They maybe I'll clean it up. They're kids. You have kids. You understand that.
Just had this conversation.
Okay. And so we want to get out of that thing where we blame other people, but we also want to get into the thing where we're checking internal and external reality. We got to see what's actually real. And we part of it. Human beings are a defined part of external reality. Believe that or not. They're not. They don't exist in my head. They actually exist outside of my head. The very idea, but they exist somewhere else, not in my mind. And that was a shock. I was really surprised about it. I don't know about you, but I was. I said, "Wow, Mom and Dad don't live in my head. Who knew?"
Damn,
I always thought they did.
Society.
Yeah, really. And so the thing is that when I begin to realize that people lived outside of me, then I had to stop and say, okay, well, how can I talk to those people? How do I get across to them what I'm thinking about? Because they didn't hear that. If I say something to people, that doesn't mean they're going to. And I think I've said it clearly. It doesn't mean anybody else thinks that. And so I have to check the external reality to make sure that what's going on in the external reality is what's going on in my reality, right? My internal reality. Because I've heard a lot of people say this. I told him that thing. I said that you should do. And I said that this was going to happen. And did you listen? No, you didn't listen. You went on and did whatever the hell you wanted to without even consulting with me. You've heard that too?
In my personal life And in my business life.
You've heard that very same thing.
Yeah.
Who knew? Well, okay. You know what? You're right. It happens. And so what is it we want to do with that, really? What we want to do with that is we want to say, okay, you got to take time to communicate what you're really saying, because if the people don't understand it, you haven't said it. There has not been a communication if you haven't gotten that point across.
But
well, she doesn't want to listen to me.
Yep. So what are you saying
That
here,
just
John?
blew me off. Pardon?
Are you saying that we have to change where we're coming from, maybe?
Well, maybe how we present things. How about that? Maybe we have to present it so that person can hear it. Maybe we have to give an illustration so they can see the illustration, not the one that we want to get, but because it makes sense to moi.
Yeah.
So there. But that we just don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to say, okay, we understood each other, right? Oh, wow, that's cool. So we really want a green Plymouth, right? Really? A green Plymouth is what you had in mind? Wow. Okay, a green Plymouth it is, sweetness. Let's go see if we can find a green Plymouth. Well, here's one that's chartreuse. Will that work? Sort of a green. You were thinking more pistachio. I see. Okay, well, let's see. Let's keep looking.
Amusing, but very good examples of the different kind of variations that are going to be in there.
That's right. Because, well, I know what green is when I see a thing, but I have no idea what green is when you see a thing. In fact, there are cultures that think what things I think are green, they think are blue. Like women, they think that things are purple when I think they're blue, or they think they're blue when I think they're purple. And it's like, I never get it right. I can't tell. I just don't see that. I'm not that subtle a purple blue color person or whatever. I just can't see the difference. But there are people who can, and mostly they're women in my life, and they remind me of that. They say to me, John, you're not looking at this right. And I say, oh, come on. Surely it's purple. No, it isn't really. It really isn't purple. Here, look. Okay, it still looks purple to me.
But we're going to roll with it.
Oh, yeah, okay. But it's like, that doesn't mean that I understand what they say when they say they want something with lavender. I need to stop and say, okay, well, okay. I have no idea what purple is. So are we talking about light blue? Or are we talking about lavender? Can you give me a color swatch maybe that I can follow? If you give me something, I can come close with that. But if you just tell me no, I'll screw that up. Trust me, I'm good at that. I'll screw it up. So that's the thing. We have to be careful of what we're saying and to the other person. Not because we don't want to upset them. We don't. But we don't want. It's not for that reason. It's we want them to understand what we said so that they can respond to it, so that we understand what they said. That way, there's an exchange of information, and we harp on that over the course of several days. Actually,
communication, right? The true definition of communication would be a bi-directional exchange of information.
Yeah, and that's really important to accomplish anything at all. As a matter of fact, we could even go so far as to say that a do that is the result of a bilateral communication or exchange of information will result in something that's real. That you will actually do make something real with that kind of a communication, which is what we're trying to get people to see, is that happens whether or not you're aware of it.
Well, that's the kicker. That's the argument that a lot of folks seem to have.
I know. Well, the problem is that these are not things that I'm making up. These are things that already exist. That we don't talk about it doesn't mean anything other than we don't talk about it. That's all.
Right.
Okay. All right. Look, let's be fair about this one for a second. One of the problems that we're going to have here is this: in terms of any kind of understanding, we've only had let's say, computers to compare to our thinking processes for about 20 years or so. Maybe a little longer, but when smartphones came out in 2006?
Yeah, thereabouts. iPhone 1.
Okay, and that wasn't a very smart phone. That was like, wow, that's interesting. By the time they got up to 4 and 5, we're starting to say, okay, well, maybe there's possibilities here, Okay, until we got on up to beyond that, we were saying, well, I can't live without that. But here's the thing: is that it took us a while to be able to even adapt to being able to use those damn things, and we don't really know how they relate to our own thinking when it gets right down to it. And so that's one of the things that we do talk about. We say, okay, we try to take this apart. We say, okay, look, there are programs, and there are meta programs, and there are self-meta programs, and there are more than self-meta programs. And we try to define what those terms mean so that somebody can say, oh, okay, I see. So they can actually begin to examine their own thinking and say, okay, I see. This is a program that I'm using, not a meta program. It's not the spirit talking through me. It's my self-meta programmer believing something, and we try to divide that up. Now, because we're only hitting the tops of the waves, we're not giving a really in-depth understanding of these things. We're not telling people stories or lying to them, but it's just not 8 weeks. 8 different sessions is not enough to cover these ideas. And we have classes that really do cover these ideas more thoroughly. Like, for instance, a rewrite will help somebody figure out how their own personal programming works better. We can help a couple or a business write an MBO so they can actually say, okay, I see. Because a business plan is not the numbers. I'm sorry. Come on, you've seen a lot of those, right?
They make me laugh.
Like, it doesn't, because they're not really talking about what the business does.
Right.
Or how it's done.
Right. More importantly.
Yeah. And so when we write an MBO, that especially for a couple, they say, "Oh, I see. That gives me a different way of looking at what it is we're doing," because it's a thing. Oh, so we have to reach these goals in order to have that objective completed. Oh, come on! I thought each one of those was a goal. Well, yeah, sort of, but not really, because you see, you got to have all these critical factors completed in order to have that big thing over there done, right? A critical factor. Critical factors. Something
sounds important
before you can do anything else.
Yeah.
That could be anything. Here's a common example of a critical factor. I'm going to the store. Stop by the gas station first, honey, because we're almost out of gas. Bitch is driving around on fumes. So that's a critical factor. You have to have gas in the car in order to go to the store. You don't have gas in the car, it's a critical factor. And so there's in a relationship that we have lots of those too. Her birthday is important. Don't forget it.
Good
it's
advice.
A critical factor.
It is.
It's something that you can't get done for another year. So get it done this time, okay? It's a critical factor.
You don't want to wait a year to get another shot. It's going to be a tough year.
You might be renting your living room out for meat storage. It could get cold in there, so don't do that.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are the kinds of things that we cover in this class. We can't cover them as much in depth as what we'd like to. The other thing that we cover in this class that I think is really quite striking is that we cover a lot of quotes. I think we have like 40 quotes in the class about relationships and how people throughout history have talked about and seen relationships. We don't cover all of it, but we cover enough of them so that you have to stop and think about it, okay? And those, when other people that were really successful in the relationship are talking about something, you kind of got to stop. Maybe they knew something that I wasn't looking at there. That could be true. Like Vivian Lee and Clark Gable. You know what they said about relationships? They said that the thing is that creativity And that inventiveness is the very nature of a relationship. It's what a relationship is made of. The creativity. They're absolutely right. That's what we're doing in a relationship. We're creating reality. Now, don't get me started on creating reality, because then I have to start talking about Mr. Planck and Mr. Log and Mr. Algorithm and all that
Plenty
other kind
of
of
rabbit
stuff.
holes, right?
Yeah, I don't want to go down any of those tonight. Okay, it's okay. I just don't want to go down them. I've been down them before, and they're fun, but not tonight. We wouldn't come out till tomorrow. So,
and this is just a prep for folks. So yeah, if they want to see more, we're going to start next week with a legit Dyad class. So that's really what we're doing here.
That's right. And here's the thing. For anybody who's into doing it yourself, who buys at IKEA or anything like that, this is a good class, because it's not a therapy. It's a whole bunch of things that you can do yourself. You don't need to be real smart to do this. You need to stop for a second and say, okay, we got to deal with reality, huh?
You're totally right.
Well, yeah, that's right. I've seen people do that a lot. I've seen people say, well, I'm not going to deal with reality. It's there. Okay. Okay. How dare you tell me I had to deal with reality? I don't want to deal with reality. I look ugly in reality. You are ugly. What can I tell you? You're really ugly. So,
wow.
Naughty me. I should spank myself or something.
I think those folks might opt out.
Well, they should. And it's it's like I'm not trying to. This class isn't for everybody. This is for people who actually want to help themselves out. If they want, come on, don't tell me that everything coming up roses in your relationship. No, it's not. You guys, if you're in a relationship, you fight. Who cares? You got a license for that, actually. So you're going to fight with each other. It's what you do after the fight. And I don't mean kiss and make up. I mean, do you reload the fight for another time?
Right.
Really? Why would you want to do that?
Or do you resolve something?
Or you were hurt, and so you want your pound of flesh. Well, aren't you a grown person? Oh my, you're a big girl or a big boy. Aren't you wonderful? You're going to get a pound of flesh. You're going to get even with the bitch. Aren't you something? Oh, wow.
So this class is going to redefine adulthood for a lot of folks, isn't it?
Maybe. If they're paying attention, if somebody's really being childish, then probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It may have upset them because of that. It's X-rated when it comes to children becoming adults. If you're a kid, please don't come to this class. You're going to get mad. You're going to say, "Oh, how dare he talk to me that way?" Well, it's because I'm older than you are, and I fucked all these things up more times than you have, and so I know why I fucked up. So I'm telling you about it, so you don't have to do the same thing. You can if you want to. Everybody's gonna. It's everybody's right, but there's no reason for you to unless you just are a glutton for punishment. That's what I did. I didn't know no damn better.
Right.
I didn't know how to talk about this stuff then, and now I do. So okay. I don't. Anybody can do it. Either any way they want to, but it's an easy way and a hard way.
That is the truth.
My daddy told me that I should learn from experience, other people's.
That is the best way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's like, for me, I've done that a lot, but the reason I've done that is because a lot of people haven't had all the experiences I wanted them to have, so I could ask them about it and say, "Why would you want to do that?" And, well, because I want to find out about it. They say, "Well, you're crazy, motherfucker. Did you know that?" Yeah, oh, okay, thank you.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I did know that actually. Yeah. You're not the first who told me that actually.
Okay, good. Well, I'm in good company for sure.
Probably so.
Yeah. All right. Well, John, I'm not sure if we've got any more time or if there's anything else you'd like to touch on. But
yeah, we've got lots of time yet tonight.
Oh, do we?
We've
Okay.
only gone. We tonight we can actually go on for quite a bit longer. This is not one of our regular Q&A sessions.
Oh, okay.
We can. Vince is over there giving me thumbs up. So He's
Well,
saying, yeah,
okay.
go on. You guys are doing something that apparently Vince likes. So
Do we want to talk a little bit more about the MBO, because you kind of brushed right over the top of that one?
yeah, we probably could.
Okay.
Okay, we talked about two different types of programs. Okay, we talked about a personal program and an MBO, which is a more than one person program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they both have the same, more or less the same components, but they're arranged differently for more than one person than it would be for a single person. And a single person, they're arranged in the way that a baby learns to do things. Okay.
Mm.
In a more than one person program, the parts are arranged by setting an objective. And an objective isn't, I want to make $1 million. That's not an objective. An objective is that I want to provide this service, or I am this service, or I produce this product. We're going to produce the very best of this product that we can do.
So it's what the business is going to create.
Right.
Okay.
Right. For instance, I know of a knife company in Sayula, Mexico. Okay, it's Jalisco. Now Sayula is out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's you go down the mountain, you go across these salt flats to get to it, and it's not close to anything at all. But this company has been there forever, and what they do, and the only thing that they do, is they make knives. But they make knives. They make beautiful knives. They make useful knives. They make big knives. They make small knives. They have people all over the world that buy their knives, and they've been doing it for 3 generations.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing. In fact, they're well into the 4th generation. The great grandchildren are now running the business. Okay. Now here's the thing. They do what they do, but they do that very well. Okay, and so they have an objective: make good quality knives. That's the only thing that's on their plate: making good quality knives. To do that, they get good steel. When they get the good steel, they process it a certain way. They pound it, they beat it, they heat it. God knows what all they do to it. You can get knives. You can get pocket knives that are Damascus steel. You can see doubled like 1,000 times. The pocket knife blade put in petrified mammoth tusk handle. They're works of art. Okay,
wow.
I mean, really they are, but useful. Oh God, they hold a blade forever. I mean, hold an edge forever, because this company only does one thing: they make knives. That's it. They're the best knife makers you're ever going to run into. Now, that's what an objective is. It's not the amount of knives you make. It's that's what you do. You're making knives. What are you doing as a couple? What we're doing is we're buying a house. Okay. We're raising a family. We're putting the kids through school. Okay, those are the things that you're doing. Cool. What do you do to do that? Well, I run a computer store, or I run a computer business. I show people how to connect their computers so they can work all the damn time, and so they can talk to each other. It's amazing how many people have computers that can't talk to each other. I make a living at that. Okay, what do you do? I make dog food for people, for dogs. Okay, cool. That's what you do. But those things are what are the objective of your Dyad or of your MBO. Now, those things also have goals. There are things that you want to meet. And each one of those goals is a critical factor. So therefore, and for instance, for you have to have technicians who can go out and say, okay, what in the world is wrong with your intercommunicate, because you can't go look at them all. You got to train people to go out and do that. Mm-hmm. You got to have people who can write the software if necessary. You have to have people who can do the purchasing necessary. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to prove that thing works in the way that it works, because you have to use it your own selves.
Yep.
Okay, so those are all goals that you have in order to reach the objective of interconnectivity in computers. Now, you may also put numbers in there. You may say, okay, we want to have these technicians in place by the 3rd of December for some very strange reason. That doesn't sound like a good date, but okay, let's say the 3rd of December. Okay, and by February 2nd, when we celebrate Groundhog's Day, we want to have all these salespeople. They damn well better be selling, and we want them out there. We want them out there seeing what the hell we got on our plate for the next year. What we want to know, so we can get prepared for it.
So hold on, wait. So these goals
Yeah.
are critical factors to making the objective a reality.
Absolutely, they are absolutely critical factors. You got to have gas in the car. Mm-hmm. You can't go to the store without gas in the car. It's critical. So, yep, that's right. So then we come down to a strategy, and a strategy is the clever way we do things. Okay, that's just it's what we do. It's how we do what we do. Okay, and there are famous strategies throughout history. Maybe one of the most famous ones is from Kodak. When Kodak realized that the writing was on the wall about selling cameras, they realized that what they wanted to get into was in the development of film, because there was lots and lots of film that could be developed, and they had the processing ability to develop lots and lots of it, and they could do it better than your local darkroom guy could. Okay, cheaper, more efficiently, without so many screw ups.
And they could keep selling more and more film to the people that bought the cameras, right?
Right. And so you know how they did that? They convinced drugstores to stay open on Sunday past noon. I'm telling you that how they actually got it done was that they convinced drugstores to stay open after church on Sunday.
Wow.
So when mom and dad and the kids were on their way to grandma's for dinner at 2, and they had an hour to kill, they'd stop at the drugstore and buy a soda for the kids and some film, because there was a big Kodak film display, and you could buy film right. You just pick them up and buy them right there, and then you could take it right back to the same drugstore and drop them off Monday morning, and you could have them developed by Friday. So next time you went to see grandma, you could already have reviewed the film on Saturday, and say, okay, grandma, look at these nice films that we get. It's nice pictures we got for you last Sunday. And grandma said, ooh. And grandpa could say, the fuck you take my picture for?
and this again is a strategy, the unique way, right, that Kodak decided to go after this.
That's right. And you know, it was a wonderfully clever strategy. And it put Kodak on the map. I mean,
there was a time frame for this too, right? Like
yes,
there's an effective time frame, obviously.
Yeah, they didn't do that forever, but because the times they are changing, what Bob Dylan said. So, and he was right. I'm pretty sure. It ain't the same time as it was yesterday now, so it must be changing.
Right. So now, when talking about the MBO within the dyad conversation, now every dyad's going to have a unique strategy.
Absolutely. It's like for us here at Artist Mentalities. One of the things that our strategy here is we collect at the point of agreement, because agreement's is a big part of what we look for here in terms of what we do in terms of classes, and what we do in terms of the community, in terms of floating and so forth. We want to agree with people to have their best programming that they can have. So at the point of agreement is when we collect. We say, okay, if you want that done, we'll provide this service if you'd like to have it. That's kind of what we're doing now, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
We talk about the service and ask people if they want to join up for it to get the thing. So, what is there? Okay. There's also recurring events in MBO, right? Please pay attention to something here. They're not reoccurring events; they're recurring events. Okay, let me give you an example. A reoccurring event is punching your time clock every morning. That's a recurring event. Okay, you go
exactly the same.
You click. It's exactly the same. It's the same event that reoccurs. Okay. However, A sale is a recurring event because every sale is unique.
Yes. That
Okay,
is
so
so true.
so a sale by definition would be a recurring event. Okay, because it's a unique event every time. Okay, shipping is a recurring event because you never ship the same thing twice. I mean, and even if you do, you don't ship it the same place. Every shipping item requires a special attention. Okay, so it's a recurring event. It's a unique event. Okay, getting the kids into school is a recurring event.
Yes, it is.
Getting a 4-year-old with shoes and socks that actually go together somehow or the other is a recurring event. Okay, no matter what the kid says, you're going to get close, and that's about it. The kid's got a mind of his own, and it's like, is it really worth it to go through this? Because that's a recurring event with the kid, right? Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that the kids are bad or good or anything. It just means it's a recurring event. That's all. But it's part of the MBO of a couple. Any couple that has children, that's going to be in there someplace. It's going to be a recurring event in their life. Getting homework done is a recurring event. Getting groceries in the house, preparing meals, and how do you do that? How do you transport kids to school? How do you take care of them throughout the entire year? Even summer. What do you do with them then? You hang them up outside in the tree. What do you do? Who knows? But you got to figure out a way. It's a recurring event every year. Okay, those are all. Going to grandma's is a recurring event. It's never the same. It just isn't. Having date night is never the same. Okay, so couples have to have all these different things, and they define them. We can't. I don't know what the hell they are. I know what a lot of them might be, but what it looks like for that couple, the hell they can't tell me. So why the hell should I try to figure it out? I don't know.
Right. That's actually what I was going to talk about.
That out.
Right. So folks, are both in business and in a personal dyad. They're operating an MBO, whether or not this is the first time they've heard of it or not. But there's an objective in place that might not have been communicated very well. It might have not goals.
It might even be different for each couple, for each member, which is always fun. Yeah.
Right. But so all of those pieces are present, even in a dysfunctional arrangement, right? And your reality is kind of showing you that.
That's right. And so that's one of the things that we find, or the couple actually finds. I don't find it, but the couple actually finds it because of the measurements that we can give them to use. Right? How important is this to you? Like one of the things that we do to get an MBO is we ask people to sit down and write up 10 things that they want to accomplish. Not 5 things that he wants and 5 things that she wants. 10 things that they want. What is those 10 things that you want together? How does that? Come on, tell me what those are. And when we find out what those 10 things are, what we usually find out is that about 8 of them are all kind of clumped together. And a couple of them are like, really? You guys really want to do that? Okay. That's on your bucket list, right? Okay. That's a good thing for your bucket list. You ain't dead yet, so there's still time.
We'll leave that one over here.
Get that. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get that done this year, but okay. It's good. I'm glad that you want to do it. Okay. Yep, go for it. But these other 8 things, wow, these are really important to you guys, aren't they? Okay. How important are they? Okay. Do you know what's important first? Okay, so overall, this is the objective then, right? And so these other things here are goals, right? Is that true? And these are things that you want to have in your recurring events. Okay, I see. Well, how are you going to get all that done? What would be the strategy for you on that? And when people go through it and they look at it, wow, yep, these are all good things. Who knew? And it's just fun to do. So
that is fun to do for sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think that's one of the highlights for a lot of couples is that they actually say, wow, we really did agree on these things. Who knew? And what's even more fun is when they realize those 10 things.
I was just going to say, when those things actually start happening with so much intention behind it, right? Now all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Yep. And you don't end up fighting about that, really.
No. And fighting is not even necessarily what it once was.
No, it's a whole lot more like shuffling or something.
Yeah.
Who's gonna get the ketchup? Who's gonna make the shuffle to go to get it? Oh, okay, I'm gonna. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, that's a fight.
Right.
Okay. And you know what? With a couple, they know who's supposed to go get it. They know who's been on their feet longer, and they do. Both of them know. They know who's been on their feet longer. They know who's more rested. They know who really has the energy to go get it. They know who's closer to it. They know who put it away. That they both know what's going on. They both got it in their minds. They know. Yeah.
Yep. And sometimes.
And so well, you're not right all the time, Paul.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I know what you're saying. I had to put my big boy adult pants on sometimes. I'm like, I don't want to do this, but I'm the one that has to go do this.
Yep, it happens.
Yep. Yep.
And it happens in business relationships too, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, constantly.
Yeah.
The fun thing about that, though, to be honest, is and I guess in the same way that I demonstrate things for my children and the rest of my family, is my staff, they get to see me do these things. I'm like, they know I don't want to do it, but they know I don't bitch about it. You know what I mean? And they see me go do it.
Not too much. Yeah. A little bit. Yeah.
But they see me go do it, and they see me go take care of it, right? So then when it's their turn to do something like that, what are they going to argue with exactly? They watched me do it.
They're not. Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to go do it.
Because you're leading from the front.
Yes. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important.
It's so important. Important.
I think that one of the problems in a lot of relationships is that Adele song. Why is it that you're not why is it you're not acting like the man? Why is it I'm stronger than you? Okay, that can be a real problem. In a relationship, I mean, a lot of times the girl will love a guy, really, she really loves him, right? But because the guy is such a baby, her patience gets tried after a while. And she finally says, I don't think you're going to change. Maybe.
Well, how can a woman envision a family, right, with children, with an adult male partner that's a child?
Well, that's the thing. You can't really. So so having a way to, one of the things for a guy, okay, that's true. And this is sometimes true for the ladies too, but it's something that you really have to consider. We tend to think that we are only body and mind. Okay, we really think that. And the reality is we are body, mind, and spirit. Now, you can get all nervous about the word spirit. You say, oh, no, I can't talk about souls because that's really religious and churchy. And so, no, it isn't. Don't bullshit yourself. Come on. No, it isn't. That's where you heard about it. I know. Yeah. It's part of you. If the spirit isn't there, you ain't alive.
Right. That's what no spirit looks like. Dead.
Yeah, it looks like you're getting buried tomorrow. That's what it looks like. Okay.
Right.
Are you really going to say that you don't have a spirit, that you're not a spirit? Oh, okay. You're not a spirit. You might have one, but you're not one. Yeah. Well, what a silly thing you are. Okay. Because if you're not one, do you like brains? Is that what you're looking for? Is brain? You're kind of a zombie thing, trying to eat brains. Come on. That doesn't look good. That's bad form, guys. You're a spirit. And what? So what? Why can't you take advantage of that? See, I think that acknowledging that the spirit is part of our life, that we are in fact spirit, gives us a grand advantage in thought. I think it's a very practical concept, but then I'm a weird motherfucker, so you can't believe anything I say.
It's the good kind of weird.
Well, sometimes, that's up for debate, Paul. You know that, right?
Okay, no, but
So
this is important. This is an important component to this topic and all of the classes, including the dyad and everything that we've talked about tonight. This is a pretty big one. People run away because of this topic, and it's too bad.
But there's no reason to. And I'm not trying to get anybody to. I'm not trying to convince anybody to worship anything. I don't care. I don't care about any of that. You can be Catholic, you can be Jehovah's Witness, you can be Buddhist, you can be Zen, you can be a Republican. I don't care what you are. I don't care what you identify as. What can you do? What is your programming about? Okay, can you really pay attention to in these places? And if you can, well, that's great. If you can't, well, that's also great. I'm not trying to tell you one way or the other. Just okay, you're good. The thing I want for people to be able to do is to say, okay, how can I take advantage of that? We do cover ways that can be taken advantage of in this class. We spend a couple of days on that actually, so that people can begin to say, okay, there's a way for this to happen. So. Anyway, Thursday nights, right? It's Thursday nights at what, 8 o'clock Eastern time? Is that right?
Yep. 8 o'clock Eastern.
This class is available.
Yep.
And what does it cost in dollars? I'm in Mexico, so I don't know about pesos. So
I believe it was $35 a night, and you can kind of drop in whenever you want. It's all automated with PayPal and Zoom, and you can just register and kind of get right in. I think
that's right. I think you can pay it all up front if you really wanted to take the class and not be bothered with all that, and then Vince put you on as a panelist or something, right?
I believe that's right.
I've seen panelists
get you up a level.
Okay, and I don't know if that does anything for you on Patreon or not, but I don't know.
Oh, and right, and
but
Patreon.
I know that you can also.
That's how we connect to the Slack channel for the in between conversations.
Yeah, because there are some people that just want to say, okay, I have questions, okay, and I don't blame them. They should have questions, and so the way that we do that though is that we do that on Slack where they can ask directly. They say, okay, I want to know what about this thing. Okay, great, let's talk about that thing. That way you can answer, I can answer, a lot of other people can answer, so they don't get just a single opinion on it. They get multiple points of view on the same idea, so it probably make more sense to them that way. So anyway, Vince is making these kinds of motions at me, and so I guess that means he wants us to stop. So
all right.
Yeah. No, it's not. I'm having a good time. So
no, that's what next week's for.
Oh yeah, right, that's right. Okay, well let's do it next week then. How about that?
Excellent.
So tomorrow you and I are going to do another Q&A kind of questions session, aren't we?
That's the plan.
On a different subject, I think. On a different subject.
we're gonna range off into some other topics.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we'll see you tomorrow, and thanks everybody for showing up tonight and listening in. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned something. Paul and I had a good time. We just
yes, we did.
We get together like this every now and then and just tell lies.
Even without the cameras on.
That's right. That's right. Sometimes we're unrecorded. We get really good lies then. Yeah, you guys missed those. So too bad.
Awesome.
Okay, anyway,
well, John,
thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Good night, sir.